Welcome everybody to session 2 of this intense semifinal NCAA championship. Welcome to the stream team. Today we have Kennedy Baker with me, NCAA champion and 11-time All-American from the University of Florida, and myself, Anastasia Webb, and we will be commentating the uneven bars and the floor exercise for you today. Today in the semifinal, we have Oklahoma, Florida, Utah, Alabama, and it will be an intense competition today. Definitely a nail-biter, Kennedy, and we are gonna have also 2 all-around individual qualifiers and 7 event specialists. Florida will be on the floor and Alabama on the bars. Kennedy, how do you feel about this session?
I'm excited, but I'm also a little bit anxious. I'm not gonna lie to you, Anastasia. It is going to be a battle. We know this. All 4 teams are capable of making it to that Saturday competition. They have their eyes set on getting to 4 on the floor, but they also have to hit these landings. Landings, details are important. We talked about it in semifinal number 1. You have to hit.
Yeah, we need to see big, bold gymnastics here because anything can happen, as we know. These girls need to stay in the moment, do their gymnastics that they've been training all year long, and just completely be in the moment.
Bama leading us on the bars, and we've got Florida taking us on the floor. Exciting competition between both of these teams and all 4 as well.
On Alabama, on the uneven bars, we have Chloe LaCourcier starting us off. She sets the tone for this Alabama team. She is capable of starting this team strong above a 9.9. This is what it's gonna take to lead, to be top 2, to qualify to the NCAA championship on Saturday.
And you'll see assistant coach there, Amelia Hunley, giving her some sound advice, carrying her experience from the Florida team onto the Alabama team, bringing so much to this program, so much guidance and strength, and really lights up the room when she walks in, has really helped guide these athletes to get them to where they are today.
Chloe starting us off with a beautiful Maloney, catches with her straight arms, straight to the transition to the low bar called a pack salto. She's going to do an additional release move here, very difficult, called a Maloney half. She was a slight shy on that handstand on the high bar, and she nails that dismount. What a start for this Alabama team. They are on a roll.
And if they can stay on that roll, they can absolutely advance to Saturday's competition. It's something that Alabama does incredibly well. If they have hit routine after hit routines, their sticks get contagious, and they have a riveting, exciting competition. And then, of course, we've got Florida on the floor, starting Victoria Wynn. She's been a great leadoff for this program. She actually has a really fun routine. She starts with anime music. It's from Hunter x Hunter. It's an anime show. I actually really like it. But she is a stunning dancer. She's so exquisite in her lines, her performance. Really uses her whole body throughout her choreography. And you'll see right here, she opens with a front double through to Sissone. She has to connect it to get the bonus, and wow, that was well executed. Sometimes you'll see she takes a little slide with her feet in that connection, but not there, planted right to the Sissone.
I will say she is so flexible. She's mesmerizing. She enjoys the music. She just doesn't do her gymnastics. She performs her beauty, her artistry to the full potential.
And she transferred over from Georgia and has fit into this team so seamlessly, really helped them out, putting up big scores and routines for them.
Kennedy, what would you say about this Florida team starting on floor? Would that be a good thing for them?
I think it's a good thing for them. They need to start on floor, and they need to carry this momentum throughout the competition, similar to Alabama. If they can start with a good roll on floor, they can roll all the way through to the national championships.
And I just loved how she just danced out of that combination pass, so judges could not take anything off of that.
Ooh, and you'll see on the leotard, we talked with head coach Jenny Rowland about the leotard design. That was one of my first questions, and she actually implemented gator teeth up and down the sides of the Leo. It's rhinestone, so it's kind of hard to tell from a distance, but they are making that gator shape with their arms with the teeth on the Leo.
That's so fun that you can have that unique touch. And next on the uneven bars is Lily Hudson. She is such a strong performer for this Alabama team. She's gonna start us off hitting that handstand. Judges are looking for that pressure onto the bar. You do have a 10-degree wiggle room, and she hits it perfectly. A little rush to that transition, I would say. Hits that handstand right on top. Blindfold to a double tuck, and another stuck landing for this Alabama team. That's exactly what you have to do. You need to be very disciplined on those landings. Every landing, every moment is going to count.
Absolutely. Like we said earlier, if they can get on a roll, these sticks get contagious. All it takes is one or two to get the ball rolling, and they started off so strong.
Because this competition, I will say, Kennedy, is going to be tough. Who will match up with that Oklahoma team that's been unstoppable all season long? It's definitely going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle for sure. I mean, you can take a look at the scoreboard right now. 9 nines across the board, except for Florida. They really need to start throwing in these 9 nines too if they want to stay in competition with the other teams. And Ellie can absolutely deliver in that area. A little stumble out of that front double full. You could tell she landed with her feet a little bit too far in front of her coming out of it.
Ellie is such a beautiful gymnast. I actually remember competing against her in club, and she was always a top-notch athlete.
Always been a stunning competitor for sure. And to go from only competing one event last year to really see her come into herself and finally have confidence this year to really put it all together, I love to see this work from Ellie.
And she just had beautiful execution on those leaps. Leaps are so important. Having to take off in the same spot and landing back in that same position is so critical. The little details are needed to be taken into consideration.
And going off of those leaps, it's so important, especially if it's a 2-pass routine. Some of these leaps are a little bit more difficult. They make up for the passes in their leaps, so they need to get it completed all the way around, full splits with big amplitude. And great work there from Ellie, straight into her choreography, really dug home that stick, drilled those hills into the ground. Nice work. Hopefully this gets the scores up for them and the ball rolling.
Again, this competition, I will say, it's all about the moment. Anything can happen in this competition. It is just gymnastics, and it doesn't matter where you're ranked in this competition because, again, anything can happen. And starting us again on the uneven bars is Shania Adams. She floats so high. Beautiful transition down to the low bar. She tried super hard to hold that pirouette handstand. Ooh, she did such a great job holding on to that, and that was because of that dowel on the bars and on the grips. And again, another stick. So contagious, Kennedy. You're taking it out of my mouth. So contagious for this team, and they are showing up. They have nothing to lose here, and they're starting off strong.
Shania did a great job there, like you said, of saving that handstand. It actually takes a little bit more momentum and effort to pull it back on top of the bar. Did you ever have anything that you almost tipped and you just couldn't really get it back, or did you ever have a skill like that?
I definitely did, and I will say those handstands are so tricky because you really do want to hold that handstand all the way up, but sometimes it just, you gotta hold that head in that position, use your grip work, because that will hold you onto the bar.
And a superstar, a new superstar for Florida, the freshman Anya Pilgrim has delivered time and time again for this program. Really brought so much already just in her freshman season alone. She looks so seasoned though. I mean, out there you would think she was a 5th year. So composed, elegant, poised, really has everything that encompasses this Florida team.
I know, and head coach Florida, she would say that you could never tell from her emotion. She is never up and down. She is cool, composed. She is confident, and she's just a freshman. She is a dangerous freshman for this Gator team.
She is, and she brings so much experience too, you know, international. She's been on the international stage for Barbados, has so many things to offer this program, and is really excelling here. Rihanna-inspired music. I can definitely feel the intensity, like Rihanna's intensity. Anya definitely does a good job of portraying that and embodying that throughout this routine. Finishing here, a double pike, well executed, a slight hop out of that, but again, we've talked about it earlier in the first semifinal. Podium is more challenging to hold onto those landings, especially on floor. It's an elevated surface, plus the springs in the floor. You have to absorb the landings, really bend your knees and hold it down. But really great work there from Anya.
Up next on the uneven bars is Maddie Walagora. She is a tremendous bar worker. She gets height. She has great air awareness. Let's see if this Alabama team can continue this momentum that they're having. Holds the handstand. She's gonna do a huge straddle Jaeger, immediate transition to the low bar, keeps her arms straight. That is one of the determining factors that judges are looking at. And just the dismount here, a very clean double out and another stick for this Alabama team. They are roll tide. They are wanting to get to that NCAA championship on Saturday night, and so far it looks like they're going to be in the top.
Like you said, Anastasia, they are roll tide, rolling straight into these sticks. They are on fire, 4 in a row to start it off, really carrying this momentum. When we talked with head coach Ashley Johnston earlier, she said that actually they were disappointed in their performance last year because they felt like they really couldn't put it together as a team, weren't supporting each other the way they needed to. This year, it's a different story. They're delivering for each other, and it shows right here at the championships. And another dynamic routine from Florida. If you want to see someone have fun, you should watch Sloan Blakely. Not only does she eat up the choreo, but her tumbling is phenomenal. She can get high. She's gotten a 10 on floor. You saw that similar hop to Anya. You know, if you don't get your knees bent and really plie through your ankles, you're not going to hold on to those landings the same way that you need to. And it's going to come down to landings at a competition like this.
Yeah, it's more like a slide, sliding back. It's very, very tricky to control that landing. Like you said, having that plie to the floor is critical.
It is critical. Looking to get a big score here. They still haven't broken a 9-9. It's going to take a 9-9 to get to the championships. Sloan setting up for the last pass here. Round off 1.5 through to a front full. That's a blind landing. She can't see where her feet are coming down when she's going forward. Anybody going forward, you have to feel it in the air, spot something or someone in front of you. And she did just that.
And there's that Gator chomp, and they are chomping their way through this floor lineup. And there is so much more to come from them, deeper and deeper in this lineup that we will see. Up next on the uneven bars is Cameron Machado. She is one of the bar queens for this Alabama team.
She's done an excellent job of really leading this team in her senior year role, helping with that guidance that we just spoke about.
Beautiful handstand, holds that position, has momentum. Going into a Van Leeuwen here, a Maloney half. Let's see if she gets this handstand just a little shy on that. And I would say that blind full was a little bit short, but a beautiful landing from this Alabama team. They are continuing to show that they are meant to be in this competition.
They showed up today. They came to compete. They want to be there on Saturday. I could feel that energy from Ashley. Obviously, everybody wants to make it to that 4-on-the-floor final day of competition, but Alabama has been so hungry this year, and they've been consistently delivering time and time again, stepping up in the postseason, did a great job in the regional final, delivering here today as well.
And if you're looking at this scoreboard here, the University of Oklahoma, very uncharacteristic. They actually are counting a few falls in their vault rotation, and Utah is in the lead at this current moment.
It's interesting because at least when I was in gymnastics, beam was the event that was scary. But now it kind of is more vault. It's about landings, precision. You have to get a stick and you have to have several sticks in your lineup if you want to see the 4-on-the-floor NCAA National Championships on Saturday. And wow, Danny Ferris, the freshman, with a beautiful tuck full in right there. She really showed up this year.
A freshman in the deeper lineup. That says a lot about her mentality, her work ethic, what she brings to the table for this Florida Gator team.
It does. She's so confident, and this is a newer role for her in the lineup. She wasn't in lineup in the regular season as often as she has been in this postseason, and she has stepped up and delivered in this role. That's why they keep putting her in that spot, because she's so consistent there.
And what would you say that's different about this Florida team? Usually there are these extroverts. What would you say about this Florida team this year?
Yeah, they were a little more extroverted back in my day. Now, you know, it's okay. It's a different vibe. I think that they support each other in a different way now. And it's great. It's nice to see, you know, there's different versions of teams throughout collegiate seasons all the time. And this is just another version of Florida. And they're delivering in the same way, contributing to that Florida legacy in a different, impactful way, but leaving their mark on it too.
Great job for the freshmen.
And we've got some strong anchors for Alabama and Florida coming up.
Luisa Blanco, the great for this Alabama team, and has already qualified to the 2024 Olympic Games representing Colombia. What an honor to be here in NCAA and also fulfill your dreams of becoming an Olympian. She is capable of a 10 on this event. She has scored multiple 10s in her career. A beautiful Maloney to a pack salto down to the low bar. Holds that handstand. Shapash half. Very critical handstand at the top, and she gets it. She's within that 10 degrees. And she holds on to that landing. She did not want to give anything away because this team so far has been unstoppable on these sticks.
Fighting for every single 10th and landing. That's why she's excelled in collegiate gymnastics. It's why she's excelling in elite gymnastics. And talk about elite gymnastics, Leanne Wong, another one who's balancing elite gymnastics and collegiate gymnastics extremely well. She's competing for Team USA. They're still vying for their spots, and that team is tough to make.
And there's got to be a different peak. You know, NCAA gymnastics, the peak is now. The Olympics, the peak is later. You have to peak 2 times. The training, the body,
right.
Everything. She's got to be a rock physically and mentally.
And she's gotten a lot of mentorship from Trinity Thomas as well. Another one of their rock stars, unfortunately graduated, cannot compete for Florida anymore, but she has helped them in so many ways, coaching them on the side. Beautiful double layout from Leanne Wong. Wow, she has so many passes that she can do for her first. I mean, she's done a double pike Arabian, she's done a triple, she's done a double layout. There's really nothing she can't do, and she always delivers. Nice work there on her leaps. I love the extension that she gets in the air. That's something Leanne is very good at. Hitting that 180 degrees, going above that 180 degree split. The judges need to see that if you don't want a deduction.
She just, to me, always looks so happy. She's always smiling. She's being in the moment. What touch that she brings to this Gator team. And she even has her own little bow line, which is quite impressive. It's like a little business for her that she brings to the younger generation.
She does. It's incredible. She does so many things. I mean, Leanne is an amazing, amazing person. And what a routine from Florida. They needed to close out with that. Great work from her.
Again, ending with that Gator chomp. This team so far has been lights out, and they've definitely set the tone for the floor exercise going into the rotations. Next on the uneven bars is Carly Bauman. She is a Michigan gymnast representing Michigan as an individual. Says a lot. It is very difficult to represent yourself without your team, and she is more than capable of winning this event as an individual. She is clean, beautiful, above horizontal to that transition to the low bar.
She got a 9.95 on this in the regional semifinal.
Just this dismount here, very difficult double front, and just such a slight step backwards, but it was very minimal. She kept her chest up. Judges are looking for controlled landings, and that was a controlled landing from this Michigan, Carly Bauman.
And it is tough. We spoke on it earlier in the first semifinal. It is so tough to compete as an individual, especially on an event like bars and beam where you get cold. You don't want to be nervous up there. You want to feel comfortable and good. But going in that 7th spot, it's like an anchor spot +1. It's challenging.
And a lot of these athletes, they may be in the very first lineup in their Michigan or in their Oregon State position. And again, starting in that 7th position, it's very difficult.
You're absolutely right, Anastasia. And another 7th spotter is Jade Carey. We've heard this name before at the Olympics. She opens with a huge full twisting double layout, one of the best she's ever done. Landed up and down upright. You want to see that chest in the upright position, not leaned over. If there's a hinge in the hips, they will take a deduction there. But that was so clean, and I love the way she did those leaps as well. Really had a lot of flight there off the floor, pushing through her ankles all the way.
I would say this is going to be one of the most difficult floor routines we will see in the whole NCAA competition.
She also got a 10 on this in the regional semifinals, so we could see another one here today.
Jade Carey is representing herself for Oregon State, and she is in the all-around. I will say these competitors have a chance to win this NCAA championship title individually, and so far, she is conquering this floor routine.
And that was such a clean landing, Anastasia. I mean, one of the best routines we've seen today, for sure. We know in the first semifinal, Aaliyah Finnegan had a stunning floor routine. She was in first place. Huge 9.9 score.
Thank you so much for listening to us on this stream team. We have Utah in the lead, Alabama right up them in 2nd place, and coming up next we have Oklahoma on the uneven bars and Utah on the floor exercise. Welcome everybody back to session 2 of this NCAA semifinal round. And wow, it has been already so intense and also so uncharacteristic. We all thought that this Oklahoma team was going to be unstoppable and that they're going to be transitioning over to this NCAA championship on Saturday. Kennedy, we have Utah in the lead, Alabama in the 2nd spot, Florida fighting for 2nd, and Oklahoma in that 4th place. What can you say about this session and going forward, Oklahoma on bars and Utah on the floor exercise?
I mean, we knew this was going to be a battle, Anastasia, but we didn't know how it was going to be a battle. I did not expect that from the OU program at all on ball. I don't think they expected that kind of rotation. They haven't had a rotation like that in a long, long time. It's unfortunate that it happened at the semifinals, at nationals. It's unfortunate timing for sure. They are going to have to pick up this energy in such a great way on bars. I can't even describe it. What do you think the mentality is of the team right now? What are they saying to each other?
I'm sure they are upset, but they are going to fuel their fire, and they're going to enjoy this moment and take every advantage of it on the uneven bars. And Danny Sievers is a great leadoff start for this Oklahoma team. She hit that handstand right on top, trying to not give away any deductions, and a full in, and has a stuck landing. This Oklahoma team needs to bring back their energy and bring back their momentum, and that was a great start from Danny Sievers.
I don't think they're done, Anastasia. I'm not counting OU out. I think it would be silly to count OU out. They are too good. They're not going 198 all season to be counted out. They are fighters. That's what they are. At the base level. They started as fighters, and then they brought the gymnastics and the effortlessness and the tins. They're gonna bring that back. They're ready to battle, and we just saw that.
Up next on the floor exercise is McKenna Smith for this Utah team.
McKenna has been a great leadoff for this Utah program.
She just does clean gymnastics.
Nice save there on that front double twist. You could tell she was under-rotated, didn't get her feet all the way under her body, but that was a nice little controlled step out of it. I actually expected a bigger step, so it's gonna be a smaller deduction there, which is good.
Probably less than a tenth.
Yeah, that was a good control out of that. Great save.
Bringing this energy for this Utah team. I will say Utah feels like they've been underrated this whole season, but not today.
They have been under the radar this season, for sure. I think that Utah does an excellent job, though, of stepping up in postseason, though. When it's time, when the lights are on and there's a championship on the line, Utah's there, and Utah's gonna be ready.
And that's when it matters most. Again, it's all about this moment, and the minute you raise your hand to salute, who can perform under this immense pressure. And this Utah team, I will say, head coach has said their culture has improved, which has allowed them to be this strong of this season.
Yeah, they actually look phenomenal. I was talking with Sam Peshik earlier, our co-analyst, and we were speaking on how fit they look. They look in shape, ready to do it, so strong. The conditioning in the preseason is paying off, and it's showing in McKenna Smith's 3-pass routine. I love that she does 3 passes. Really strong work there.
Up next, a star for this Oklahoma team, Kathleen Lavasser. She is a 2-time NCAA All-American on this event. She does clean gymnastics, one of the best in the country. She's gonna do this skill called a takachev. She did catch a little bit close. She did hit her grips on the high bar, and that was because she wanted to catch that uneven bar. Oklahoma cannot afford any additional mistakes in this competition. A very clean dismount and a very clean landing, a control landing is what they're needing. And again, like you said, Kennedy, this team needs to fight to be in the top 2.
I refuse to count OU out. And you'll look at the board. Danielle Sievers started strong with a 9-9. They need to build off of it. They need 9-9-5s, 9-9-7-5s if they want to stay in this battle. But they're capable of that.
They definitely are.
And another strong performer from Utah is Jaden Rucker. Incredible. Has high flying tumbling and the choreo to back it up. A fun routine right here.
She is just a ball of energy. Her energy is contagious.
It is contagious. When they were warming up earlier, I was on the side dancing with her because it just looks so fun. Oh, under-rotated that full twisting double tuck, had to put her hands down. That's gonna be 5 pins off in deduction. An unfortunate fall for the Utah lineup.
And it was definitely gonna be a floor routine that they wanted to count because of that big gymnastics.
Jaden can put up a really big number here.
And it's so important to go above 180 degrees and making sure that those leaps go all the way around, especially again in those 2 pass routines, which we're going to be seeing a lot in this competition.
That was such an uncharacteristic fall from Jaden. She's been so consistent and phenomenal for this Utah program. But we spoke on it earlier, just how challenging it is to figure out the podium, how to not go too hard, but not hard enough, to really find that balance of where you need to be in your passes to nail them and get that stick.
The Utah Utes are going to be wanting to drop Jaden's score. Unfortunately, that was an uncharacteristic mistake, but again, they're gonna use their momentum to continue their positive energy that they just had from the previous rotation.
Faith Torres up next for the OU program, looking to bounce back from vault. She was the starter. She sat down, unfortunately, her Yurchenko 1.5 twist. I know she wants to pick up that energy. That was uncharacteristic from Faith. I feel like she struggled a little bit on vault this season, especially in the postseason. She had a little bit of issues in regional.
Yeah, this Oklahoma team, they just need to do their gymnastics and not try too hard. Beautiful pack salto. I would have loved to see her legs a little bit together in the air.
Anastasia, there's such a legacy behind the OU program. Is it hard to live up to that legacy and that expectation? I'm sure there's nerves and pressure with the competition, and then also the legacy of the program must add to that.
Yeah, this Oklahoma team, they were different this year. They were a unit. They were so collaborative. They had a chance of representing Oklahoma and achieving that 7th consecutive NCAA championship title, and their 3rd in a row. They are wanting to achieve that goal not only for themselves, but for their coaching staff. That they're each other's best friends, and they will do everything and anything to achieve that goal. But unfortunately today, so far it has not been their night, but they are working hard to get back on that podium.
And like you said, another team that's really focused on doing it together, the small moments matter, is Utah. They've done a great job of really getting their program back. It's cohesive. The team is getting along. They're stepping up and delivering the gymnastics they know how to do. Hopefully they can pick up the momentum again. I know Abby's looking to replace Jaden's Rutgers 90875. They do not want to count that score. That score is not going to make it to the Saturday Final 4 on the floor competition. They have to step it up.
And Abby Paulson up next on the floor exercise. She is a performer. She has been in this elite world. She has been on high podium, high pressure situations. And currently right now, Kennedy, how hard is it to have to come back after a fall and have to wait for the judges to meet and have these conferences? What goes on in your head?
Tough. It's a mental game, right? Waiting adds to that. It builds the pressure. It builds those nerves. And you want to be as warm and as calm as possible. And the longer you have to wait, it's unfortunate. It's hard. It's kind of like waiting for a test. You just want to do it, you know? So that is the mentality going into this gymnastics. I'm sure that was going through Abby's head, but luckily she had Coach Maya Hambrick on the side, assistant coach, really helping them out. Came over from the LSU program. She was a stud on that team, to say the least. She was phenomenal and amazing floor worker. Abby opens with a big front through to 2.5. Nice job there. Control coming out of that, really honed down. You saw the bend in her knees. That's what's really been missing in some of these landings on this podium. You'll see them pop up and slide. We talked about it from the Florida program. You want to dial it in and really absorb these landings, and Abby did a great job there and there of doing just that.
That combination pass, judges are looking for that second flip to be higher than the first, and that's exactly what she did right there.
An excellent work on these leaps. I love the attention to detail that they put into that. I am a fan of a 3-pass routine. I'm gonna say it. I love a 3-pass routine. So if it's not, that's okay. If I was a coach, I wouldn't do that. I'd do 2 passes too.
Phenomenal finish. Her endurance, her execution was just exquisite.
It was. That was great. And it shows, we talked about their fitness, and it absolutely shows. It's such a long season, too. You have to hope that the conditioning that you did in the preseason is strong enough to withhold you through the season. And actually, a person that we talked to about that was head coach KJ Kindler. She talked about the strength that this program had, the endurance that they worked on in November and December. That's what she told the girls. She said, the work that you put in November and December, it's gonna show right now, and she's absolutely right.
Reagan Smith here on the uneven bars is capable of big gymnastics. Great release move there, it's called a ray. Beautiful transition to the low bar. Judges are looking for a beautiful glide swing, pointed toes, pressure on the bar, and she just holds those handstands. And just the dismount here.
Are you giving her the stick?
I don't know if I would give her the complete stick, but that was such a minimal hop on that landing, but such a beautiful routine and way to come back for these Oklahoma Sooners.
And Anastasia, we said this was a fight, and we meant it. I'm getting a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard. It's hard. I want everyone to exceed and do well and just excel. And at a competition like this, you have to be on. You have to show up the day of the meet. The work you put in is impactful and important, but if you don't deliver the day of, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't.
Up next on the floor exercise is Jalen Gilstrap. She is so long and elegant. Beautiful 1.5 combination pass, kept her legs completely together. And I love the way she's performing this classical music. Very uncommon in gymnastics nowadays.
And I also love the stick position she had coming out of that. You saw she stuck with her feet together. It's not a deduction if you step back into a pose or into a controlled lunge, but it's more impressive if you just stay with your feet together, and she did just that.
And she held it for 2 seconds. Judges are looking for that hold.
I love the Bohemian Rhapsody inspired music. We love Freddie Mercury. Setting up for a front layout, front full.
Again, just holds that landing and dances right out. The judges cannot take anything from that. It was breathtaking. And coming up next on the uneven bars is Audrey Davis. She is a senior this year, and she has been a star for this Oklahoma team. They are really needing this score to count for the Oklahoma Sooners. And if you're looking at the scoreboard, currently right now, Oklahoma is in 2nd place. The University of Alabama just had 2 falls. Again, anything can happen. This Oklahoma team cannot be count out just yet.
And if there's someone that you want in your lineup, it's Audrey Davis. She got a 10 on this bar and has gotten countless 9.975s. So consistent on this event and beautiful work.
Watch this release move right here. She did it from a Higgins position, which is an inverted grip, and you're needing a lot of shoulder flexibility to perform that skill. And just look at her toe point. Feet come glued together. She holds every single position. Again, that Higgins double front with the half, and she nails that double front with the half twist. What a moment for Audrey Davis and the comeback for this Oklahoma team.
They needed that score. Good job on Audrey. I actually love that dismount too. Sometimes she shorts it a little bit and doesn't get it all the way around. I liked how her feet were definitely more all the way around on that half turn. That was excellent work from her. And another excellent worker, Miley O'Keefe, the reigning all-around NCAA champion.
Miley O'Keefe, talking to head coach of Utah, has really grown, and she actually was a silent leader, but now she's embraced this vocal leader in her and has really motivated her team to go all the way.
It's been a comfort, like you said, really stepping up into that leadership role and delivering. You could tell that she dug that front foot into the ground. She said, I'm holding this lunge. Did a great job there, had a lot of power coming out of that. Nice job staying in it.
There is a reason why she was an NCAA champion. Her mentality, her strength is perfection. Again, holding those landings, being super smooth out of transitions, that full 180-degree split in a very difficult split, being in a ring position. And that part of her floor routine gets me every single time.
It got me too. I always forget every single time I see that part. I think that she's like a little bit injured, which scares me. She's not. She's fine, people. She just has a fun moment in her floor routine. We love to see it. Beautiful job there, spotting assistant coach Maya Hambrick. Stunning work from Miley, great floor routine. They needed that. They still want to drop Jaden Rucker's 908.75, but they need one more hit to drop that routine.
And up next for the Utah Utes is Grace McCallum. As we've heard previously, she was in the Olympic Games. I'm sure she was going to be counting. Up next for this Oklahoma team is Jordan Bowers. Such a rock for the Oklahoma Sooners.
And she's bouncing back. She had a little bit of a struggle there on vault as well, but Jordan is such a fierce competitor. I cannot say enough positive things about her athleticism and gymnastics.
Beautiful transition to the low bar. She glides and has this rhythm about her on the uneven bars. She's very detail oriented, holding every single position, not taking anything away. And just a dismount here. Full in. Slightly had her chest a little bit down, but other than that, she was vertical. She kept it together, and they are bringing the heat back for this Oklahoma team.
It's not over. I told you that from the beginning. I refuse to count Oklahoma out. They are still in this. I just glanced over at Beam. They've had 3 falls. It's anybody's day.
Definitely not the competition that we thought that we were going to have. It is definitely keeping us on our toes. And on next on the floor exercise for the Utah Utes is Grace McCallum.
An Olympian. Grace has so many skills, so many tricks in her bag. She is incredibly talented and gifted. That's why she made the Olympic Games. She opens with a huge full twisting double tuck. Great job staying inbound. You'll see those white lines around the floor. They're an indication to the judges of where they're at. If you take a step outside the line, it's 1/10 in deduction. Grace did a great job there. You saw how close she was to the corner and kept it controlled and focused and inside the floor. Good work.
I will say these gymnasts do have these cat instincts of when they're too close to something. She definitely can handle the pressure. She's been at the Olympic Games representing the USA. She's able to conquer, especially on this floor exercise, and anchor this team with confidence.
Last pass for Grace here. Beautiful Beautiful work there. Stunning Rudy. Excellent, excellent job coming out. And they will be able to drop Jaden Rucker's score with that routine. Grace did her job out there.
Folks, it looks like it's going to be a battle. The Oklahoma Sooners are making their way up. They are in the 3rd spot. They're fighting for that 2nd place so far. Florida is still in the lead. And we will have Gabby, the great from Michigan, the individual representing the University of Michigan in the all-around. She's a very strong athlete. Sky-high gymnastics here. Fingertipper, Jaeger, I will say on that. But did a great job holding on, being super patient. Again, the grips are so important. They have a dowel that allows gymnasts to hold on a little bit extra. And just a dismount here. Holds on to that double layout, and she's happy with that bar routine. Very difficult to be competing individually by yourself without your team. But again, what a community to have with this Oklahoma Sooner team to bounce you back up and to be by your side.
Wow, Utah putting up a big 49.5875 to get that lead with a 99.2250 in 1st place, but it's still a close competition. And Raina Worley, the 5th year for Kentucky. I'm going to try and stay composed in this routine. This is the last time we're going to see her compete, and wow, it has been such a career for her. She is a phenomenal gymnast. It's been a privilege to watch her gymnastics, and she soars here so high. This opening tumbling pass, and one of the best she's ever done. That was so good. You could tell, you saw Tim Garrison, her head coach, behind her. She was well above his head. We did a chart earlier with how high. She was like a foot above his head earlier this season. Raina is amazing.
She has scored multiple 10s in this position, and she's hunting for that 10 to win the title on this event.
And even in her 5th year, she has delivered so well this season. One of her best seasons. This is the 1st year that she got a 10 on floor, and she is fighting for this floor title right now. I can see it.
Kennedy, I'm not seeing any deductions so far. She is, out of those combinations passes, she is just dancing out of every single event, enjoying the moment. She is doing Raina Worley floor gymnastics.
Living up that Michael Jackson moment for the last time. I know she's setting up this tumbling pass.
This is it for her.
Big double tuck here.
She just needs to find the landing, and she holds on to it. What a moment for Raina. You can see it. She is emotional.
That was amazing.
She left everything she had on the floor exercise, and it's so well-deserved to be here representing this Kentucky team and looking at that connection with her head coach. It's emotional for everyone.
That was cool.
Kennedy's over here crying.
I'm crying because she's such an amazing athlete. I'm devastated that her team's not here. Kentucky had such a good season. They've been on a roll since last year. They had a great season. I'm glad that she got to close out her career that way. That was a beautiful routine.
And she represents Kentucky with such pride. She should be so proud of herself.
And that is it for the second rotation. We've got Utah in the lead, Florida not far behind, Oklahoma still fighting, and Alabama has some work to do when we get back.
NCAA championship. This meet keeps getting more interesting. Utah in 1st place, Florida in 2nd, Oklahoma fighting for that 2nd spot, and Alabama. We and Kennedy Baker and I will be commentating on the uneven bars on the floor exercise, Alabama on the floor, and University of Florida on the uneven bars. Kennedy, what is going to be needed to continue?
Well, these teams have 2 different jobs. Florida's job stay consistent, stay chill, and just do their normal, keep carrying this energy and momentum. They started on floor, but we said that. If they can get the ball rolling, it's gonna keep rolling. Alabama, a little different story. They're coming off of 4 falls on beam. They need to go lights out on this floor rotation.
And lights out will be starting by Sloan Blakely for the junior for this Florida Gator team. She is a former U.S. national team member. She is capable of leading this team, very strong.
She does a great job in this leadoff spot for Florida. She struggled a little bit on bars throughout the season, struggled in the regional semifinals, but not in the finals. Had a great routine, looking to build off of that one. It's fun, too, because Sloan's sister, Sky, is coming to Florida next year, so it's going to be a sister duo. Really dynamic and fun there.
Sloan starting us off with a very strong bar routine, hits that handstand. Beautiful Maloney, catches with straight arms. Slightly short on that pirouette. Judges are wanting a quick pirouette and landing it right up on top, but no problem on that last handstand. Very difficult dismount here. A double front and just the smallest step backwards, but again, she was controlled. That number is going to be huge for this leadoff.
Sloan did her job. That was a great starting routine. I love that small scoot. It was so minimal. That's going to be a little deduction, a tenth or a half a tenth right there. Really fought to control that. We spoke earlier about those front landing dismounts and skills. It's blind. You cannot see where your feet are placed on the floor. You got to feel it in the air. She did a great job there of just waiting on the swing and being patient.
And up next for this Alabama team on the floor exercise is Maddie Wallagora.
Maddie started off the Alabama program on beam with that lead-off fall. I know she wants to have this bounce back on floor.
Maddie has been known for a great attitude, especially in the lead-off position, and she's very dynamic.
She is. She has a strong floor routine. Big tumbling. You could see a little bit of under rotation there, leg form in the air. She really didn't get the punch that she needed, but honestly, it was a great save coming out. She could have sat it down or taken a bigger step coming out of it. I like that she had the control and the experience to really know how to get that landing to her feet.
Some of the best athletes in gymnastics is, again, creating that illusion that nothing had happened or anything never went wrong. And so far, Maddie is doing just that. She's doing her floor routine to full potential to bring back this momentum that this Alabama team really needs.
Just getting ready for this last pass right here, round off 1.5 to front layout.
She just floats in the air on this pass. Great combination pass, looking for that second flip to be higher than the next, and she just did that.
Nice job, solid start. They need that. They need the energy going into this floor. They need big tumbling and stuck landings.
Up next for this Florida Gator team is Victoria Wynn, the senior, a 2-time All-SEC champion on the uneven bars, and also a member of the U.S. national team in 2016 and 2017. She is fluid. She counts on her rhythm on the uneven bars. Taking a deep breath here. Beautiful handstand, no deductions there. Great transition to the low bar. Keeps her feet close together. This handstand here is the most critical of the bar routine, and she just nails it right on top. Dismount here, double out, and another stick for this Florida Gator team. They are on a roll, and they can be unstoppable the remaining of the night.
Drilled that dismount, did what she needed to, and stepped up and delivered. Victoria has done just such a great job of doing that throughout the season, being a reliable gymnast for them in their lineups.
And I will say, whoever will embrace the pressure and uses it as fire in this competition will succeed to be that top 2 to make it to the NCAA championship on Saturday. And here next on the floor exercise is Ella Burgess. She is unique. It's Cameron Machado.
Big double tuck, great work going to that lunge. A little bit bigger lunge, but great control, stayed in bounds. But they need sticks, Anastasia.
Yeah, these gymnasts need to be very disciplined, and that was such a difficult double wolf turn to another double wolf turn.
That was really clean. That's a difficult turn to do. You don't see turns, they're not a requirement on floor, so when athletes do them, you know they're gonna be good, because if you're risking a turn in your floor rotation, it better be good.
And she's needing that to achieve her bonus. Great combination pass, dances right out of that. I would have loved to see a little bit of her feet and her knees a little bit tighter in the air when she was performing that combination pass.
With that succession music to close it out, good job from Cameron, but Alabama has to get the sticks.
Yeah, they do need to come back. If they want to get back into that second place position, they need to come back from that 4 falls on the balance beam. Execution, being super disciplined on those landings is a must for that team. And up next on the uneven bars is Ellie Lazario, the senior for this team. And she should be so proud of herself and what she's accomplished as a senior from freshman year to senior year. She's been a rock for this Florida Gator team with a beautiful Tkachev.
I really appreciate Ellie's gymnastics. She is such a clean gymnast, beautiful lines, great extension throughout. My favorite fact about Ellie, though, is how she tells Jenny, "I love you," before she goes on the beam. I think that's really sweet.
That is sweet. Oh! Very uncharacteristic of Ellie. She shot her toes a little bit too far and let go of the bar a little bit too early. This Florida team is wanting to drop that score. Unfortunately, it was so smooth, but did a very uncharacteristic mistake. They are definitely going to be wanting to drop that score from Ellie.
If they want to be in contention for Saturday's competition, they absolutely need to drop Ellie's score. But no one better to deliver after her than Anya, who we'll see after Ella Burgess on the floor, who also had that beam fall.
We are seeing a lot of uncharacteristic skills and moments from these teams. But again, the strongest team is who's going to use that fuel to fire them up and deliver on the moment that they need to.
And Ella, in this 5th-year role, this is her first year in the floor lineup, delivering time and time again. Nice work talking to head coach Ashley Johnston. She said she makes this team 2/10 better, but also is such a leader outside of the gym as well, stepping up, giving that guidance for the underclassmen.
I think it says a lot for these athletes who had an Achilles injury and then are competing on the event that your Achilles is mostly needed, and they are dominating and performing their gymnastics to the full of their capability. And it's perfection so far from Ellie Burgess.
I love Ella's attitude when she competes. You cannot miss that smile on her face. She loves it. She eats up that competition floor. You can tell she wants to be out there contributing to her Alabama team and program. Wrapping this routine up. Another blind landing. Has to find it in the air. Let's see if she can do it. Great job there. That was stunning.
Great finish for this Alabama team. continuing this positive momentum on the floor exercise and enjoying and being in the moment. It is a privilege to competing in this semifinal competition. But again, the main question is who will be the top 2 to qualify to the Saturday competition. And if it's anybody to be cool and composed, it's Anya Pilgrim, the freshman star for this Florida Gator team. She has great lines, extends her hips all the way up to every handstand, which is critical in this competition. This competition has 6 judges. You drop the low and the high, and you take the average.
When Anya first started, she was really trying to find her flow, and I asked Jenny who she turns to, and she said Leanne, who we'll see later on in this lineup. But then it was funny because she said Leanne turns to Trinity, so it's really a legacy. It passes down from one gymnast to the next.
And Anya here is looking to drop that fall from Ellie, that 9.1625. She just needs to make it on her feet. She holds that handstand. She needs to hit this dismount. And what a comeback for this Florida Gator team. She is cool, she is confident, and she is ready for this national championship.
We're up in the stands, but I can feel the nerves and tension from up here. This is an intense competition. It is coming down 2/10. It's gonna matter, these little steps, these hops. I love that Anya really drilled that landing, held it, and drove it home, that she stuck that. That's what these teams need to do to get to Saturday's competition.
And up next for this Alabama team is Luisa Blanco, again already qualified for the Olympic Games, representing Colombia. And she is just a performer on this event, Kennedy.
She's a performer, especially on this event. She loves to really play up this choreography. I know she's coming from a beam fall. She's gonna wanna hit this strong. And a lot of power there in that double pike. I'm gonna say a small scoop back. I'm not gonna give it a full hop. Did have a little bit of that slide. We mentioned it earlier. The bend in your knees is so important, especially on podium. Nice job not having that slide on that second pass. You saw the emphasis that she put on that front leg in the lunge. It's important and it matters. Those are the little tenths that add up.
And I will say the floor exercise is the event to build your confidence. A lot of gymnasts do feel a little bit more stable on the floor exercise compared to any other event. This Alabama team is rolling tide, and they're bringing this momentum. And Luisa Blanco, in training, she has been so confident, just focusing on NCAAs, taking one skill at a time, and then focusing on the Olympics later on in her career. Beautiful finish for this Alabama team. And let me tell you, this competition keeps getting more interesting and so uncharacteristic. Utah is still in the lead. The Florida Gators are in second. Oklahoma just had a very uncharacteristic mistake on the balance beam, opening that door once again. And Alabama in that fourth place position.
And Florida, we've got Skylar Drazer here, the freshman, another freshman in this back end of the lineup with such a solid bar routine to follow up Anya Pilgrim's 9.9. Great score right there. She's gonna wanna build off of that score, add to it, and add on top of it.
But talking to head coach, she says that she could put her anywhere in the lineup. That's how consistent this freshman team is here. Just this double layout. I will say she had a slight pike down to rush that landing, but did a great job holding her chest up high. What a moment for this Gator team.
And their job right now, Anastasia, is to hit. They are focused on consistency and the hits. They're dropping Ellie Lazari's 9.1625 to stay in this competition. And the last person to do it is Leanne Wong, and she can deliver on the bars for sure.
Up next for this Alabama team on the floor exercise is Lily Hudson.
Lily has fun choreography. Lily stepping into this upperclassman role in her junior year, opens with a big front double twist. Beautiful. You saw the team so hyped in front of her. They love that just as much as we did. It's difficult to do twisting elements. Sometimes you'll see those legs crossed in the air. I like how Ella's are glued, or Lily's are glued together. They're side by side. Really stunning work. Setting up for her last pass right here. She needs to have a good landing out of this to get a big score.
Kennedy, I will say, I think I did see a little slide back on that.
I'm gonna give it the slide. It was hard from our angle, but you just saw it. There's a difference in holding that front foot down. We saw Louisa earlier in this lineup really plant into that lunge. The judges need to see that to not incur a deduction.
But overall, great performance for this Alabama team, keeping this roll moving. And up next for the Florida Gators on the uneven bars is the Florida star, Leanne Wong. She is so calm, composed, and she can handle this pressure here. This Florida team needs Leanne to hit. She just hit that handstand with perfection.
If there's an athlete that can deliver on all stages in gymnastics, it's Leanne Wong.
Beautiful Maloney half, keeping her legs together, holds that handstand. Just the dismount here. And she delivers for this Gator team. This Gator team is on a roll and they're unstoppable tonight. What a moment, Kennedy. Being an alumni from this team, how do you feel?
I'm not gonna lie, Anastasia saw me. You guys can't see me. I was slid down in my chair, a little bit nervous for my Gators. I wanted them to do well, along with everybody else in this competition. I love the bounce back that they had. Ellie had that uncharacteristic fall, and they just stepped up. Especially their freshmen. They have stepped up all season, but to go 9-9 and 9-8-2-5 after a fall in the back end of the lineup is very impressive.
And up next for this floor exercise is the anchor, Gabby.
Gabby Gladio. If you want to see a competitor, it's Gabby. Actually, she is like the spike ball champion. They have a big spike ball competition before every gymnastics competition, and she is the most intense in that game and on the competition floor. Nailed that.
Again, that mat is used on the floor is not a deduction. It is just allowing athletes to have a little bit more of a comfort zone and adds a little bit more cushion as these athletes have been training all season long.
Beautiful work there on those leaps. We've talked about getting them all the way around. I like how you could see her feet completed.
She's a very powerful gymnast, powerful in her choreography. She makes a statement of who she is, who she represents for this Alabama team.
You're right, Anastasia. And that fierceness that she has, you can see it when she competes, especially on beam. We didn't get to check out her beam. We're on floor with her, but she is a rock. She is just so solid, but on so many events here on the floor exercise as well.
She's telling the crowd to bring it on.
Great work out of that front 1.5 twist. You could tell she was slightly off coming out of it, a little under rotation. Covered it with that split jump, really got a lot of height and amplitude there, and she's hyped about their routine as she should be.
What a comeback for this Alabama team. They are excited. They need to keep this ball rolling if they want to be in the top 2 seat to have a chance to qualify to the NCAA championship on Saturday.
And we've got the Olympian up now, Jade Carrier for Oregon State. Beautiful big gymnastics, a stunning pack full you saw right there. So difficult.
Very difficult, the most difficult transition to the low bar that we will see in this competition. And just the dismount, just a slight hop backwards on that. She's got too much power. We would have loved to see a little bit more of those bend in the knees, soaking up that landing, but she did a great job representing Oregon State and her as an individual athlete.
And for Michigan, we've got Sierra Brooks in the 5th-year spot. Not her final routine because she still has vault left, but her final floor routine up now. And she has brought so much to the Michigan program. I mean, she has done competition after competition so consistently. Specifically on floor, she can fly high here. Watch in this first pass, full twisting double tuck.
Doesn't even use her arms. That's how good she is at that skill.
Nice execution on those leaps, well above that 180-degree split that the judges want to see.
Gabby has just grown so much as a gymnast. I remember Sierra has grown so much as a gymnast. I remember competing against her in club gymnastics, and here she is representing Michigan with such confidence.
Did she have the same high-flying tumbling when she was in club gymnastics?
Everybody wanted to be like her.
And wow, what a pass. Stuck that cold, put those toes into the ground, and reached out to say, hey, I did that. That's gonna be a big score. And that is rotation 3. We're finished with Florida, and Alabama will be bouncing over to OU and Utah on the bars and floor. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back, everyone, to session 2 of the semifinal NCAA championship. This competition is getting intense for the top 2 teams. Utah's #1, Florida's 2nd, Oklahoma's in 3rd, and Alabama is in this 4th place. Here I am with Kennedy Baker, 11-time All-American and NCAA champion, and myself, Anastasia Webb. We are so excited to watch this rotation come to a finish. We have Utah finishing up on the uneven bars, and on the floor exercise, the Oklahoma Sooners. Kennedy, what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to both rotations. I can't lie, I'm devastated for the Oklahoma team. I thought that this was going to be an easy competition for them to get to Saturday. Unfortunately, they've just had uncharacteristic mistakes throughout the meet, really from start to finish. I hope they can close out strong on floor and Utah.
I will say this is just a prime example that #1 is just a number, and that anything can happen in this competition. It's the minute you raise your hand and who puts on their biggest game face and who embraces that pressure to put everything they've got on the competition floor. And this Oklahoma Sooner team, I will say, I feel for them, and they need to go out there and just perform their gymnastics on the floor exercise and just enjoy every single moment, because they are beautiful gymnasts inside and out, and they need to finish like they know they can.
Anastasia, OU's your alma mater. What do you think that KJ is telling them? What has she told them throughout this competition when an uncharacteristic mistake or a mistake just happens? What is the mentality? What is she telling the girls?
Well, KJ has always said that your biggest competitor is ourselves. And in this situation, ourselves took over control. And again, KJ would always emphasize this competition is won through the neck and up. And quite honestly, I will say I'm sure KJ Kindler is a little bit disappointed, but it's out of her control. She feels bad for these athletes. They've worked so hard all season long. It's just an unfortunate situation, and they just have to go out there and perform beautiful gymnastics for the end of their season.
And talking about beautiful gymnastics, McKenna Smith, that dismount, that is what they've done this entire meet. Getting the sticks, getting that ball rolling, and just staying consistent and smooth.
And just a sophomore for that Utah team, so much more to give. And here we have Audrey Davis leading the Oklahoma Sooners off on the floor exercise.
And Audrey's actually had a great night. A little bit big of a step on vault, but I mean, bars and beams, she's in the lead right now in the scoring, and stunning work on that front double twist. I saw her do it just like that in warm-up. She hits that time and time again. We talked about the legs crossed. You don't see that. You don't really see that in any OU gymnastics.
No, you don't. And something that's so unique about this Oklahoma team is that KJ does and performs the choreography and designs the choreography that's unique to every single gymnast. She is such an amazing coach because she's able to pick and choose what fits best for each gymnast. And just dances right out of that combination pass, no question about it.
How much input is decided in the floor choreography and music, and how much do you get as an athlete? Like, is it more KJ just has, you know, a certain vibe or style in choreography that she wants, or is it like, hey, we're kind of collaborating?
You know, I have never chosen my music. Every time I've tried, it's been a no from KJ Kindler. But that just speaks so much words about she knows our athletes inside and out, that she knows this Oklahoma team and what they're capable of, and wants to bring their best gymnastics day in, day out.
And Anastasia, she chose right, I will say. I still remember your floor choreography. It was stunning. We were talking about it earlier. I can't get it out of my head. I used to love your routine, and I think that's something really important and special about KJ, is that she sees the potential in her athletes even before sometimes they see it, and believes in them, and that belief has gotten them this far.
And up next on this Utah team is Ella Zerbs. She is a very powerful athlete, beautiful. Ray Tkachev to that transition to the low bar. I will say I thought it was going to be a finger tipper, but she is just so long and elegant and such a beautiful swinger on this event. Full in dismount, lights out. This Utah team so far is on fire. They started off with a 9.9125, and I'm sure that will be a repeat or maybe even a little bit higher.
These sticks are absolutely contagious, and that's something very good about this Utah program. Once they get that ball rolling, it's gonna keep going. They're building off of McKenna Smith's stick. They got the stick with Ella Zerbs. That was excellent.
And up next on the floor exercise is Danielle Sievers. And she's actually hasn't been in the lineup quite some time in season, and here she is bringing her energy.
Yeah, they've switched out the spot. Belle Johnson has been in this role in these last couple of meets for the Oklahoma program. Had some mistakes, had Danielle Sievers go in today, and she is delivering.
She is a performer. She loves to go out there and have fun. And that's what this Oklahoma team just needs to do on this floor exercise.
Nice job on that front through to double tuck. You saw the amplitude and rise she got off the floor, but also that controlled stick coming out of it.
Yeah, she's definitely holding every single landing and going above 180 degrees. Those leaps, we keep saying over and over, it's one of the most critical factors in a floor routine.
I love how big Danielle Sievers dances. You can just see how much fun she's having, how expressive she is throughout her choreography. KJ did a good job there.
She did. She brings out the personality. And there you see her holding up those ones to the fans. And up next on the uneven bars is Amelie Morgan. Amelie Morgan. She's actually a 2020 Great Britain Olympic team member, winning the bronze medal, and a 2022 All Pac-12 team champion. She has been in these high-pressure situations multiple times, and she can deliver. I will say I would have loved to see a little bit more straight arms on that high bar transition, but she just did a full twisting pack salto to the low bar. Very difficult transition and a very unique dismount. And just again, this Utah team is drilling these landings in the moment that it matters.
I love Utah's dismounts too. They're unique. You don't see as often those toe-on halves that they're doing off the bar with the front pike half, and they're nailing the landings. Great job from the team in the lineup so far. And Reagan Smith, the 5th year, in her final performance for the Oklahoma Sooners. If they do not advance to Saturday's competition,
and unfortunately, KJ is so big about the leotards and being able to design leotards.
Do you think this Leo's gonna make a comeback, Anastasia?
I don't, and it's quite sad because this leotard actually has a lot of meaning for the state of Oklahoma. It represents the tribe of Oklahoma. It represents a legacy of Oklahoma and the Native American population. And a fun fact about Oklahoma, it's in Tornado Alley. And because of that Native American sacred land, it's actually never been hit by a tornado.
Wow, I didn't know that.
They say that a tornado goes around the university.
Wow, that's a fun fact.
It's a mystical, sacred piece of land. So that's the representation of this leotard tonight.
I love that story, Anastasia.
Reagan showing off her flexibility, enjoying this moment, a well-deserved moment for her. She has worked hard all season long. This is her senior debut. She is done after this.
And she's had such an incredible career, collegiately in elite gymnastics.
That was it. Reagan Smith, an emotional finish for her. And her goodbyes.
Big hugs from her teammate there in what could be her Final Four performance.
And next up on the uneven bars is Miley O'Keefe, the NCAA champion. She can deliver on this event. And she does some very unique skills that you don't want to miss.
And these sticks have been so contagious for this Utah team. She also nailed her landing in the regional final. Looking for a similar performance here.
Beautiful handstand. Keeps her feet together. Her toe point is just exquisite. Just a slight shy on that pirouette. Judges are looking for the full pressure on top of the bar. Just a dismount here, an Arabian double front. She always sticks that landing, but unfortunately she did take a slight step forward, had a little bit too much momentum. I would have loved to see her open up her arms a little bit sooner to find that landing. But what a moment for this Utah team, the team that was underrated, the team that was thought to not make it to the national championship, and here they are.
In the lead.
In the lead. And next for this Oklahoma Sooner team is Catherine Levasseur, the senior.
Kat Levasseur with what may be her Final Four routine as well. Coming back after a beam fall, so uncharacteristic. I know she wants a strong performance here to really close it out if this is her final one. Big tumbling from Kat, fought to keep that foot down. It's a small shuffle to the side, but minimal deduction there.
This floor routine reminds me of like a Oklahoma country hoedown.
It does. It's very unique. And Kat does a really good job of playing up her choreography and really selling the choreo.
And Kat is so unique, and she has grown so much as a gymnast. As her freshman year, she just did one event, and here she is representing herself in this all-around. Says a lot about her confidence, how much she's grown, how much she's trusted her capabilities in gymnastics.
And when we checked in with head coach KJ Kindler, she actually said in her senior year, this is Kat Levasseur best year. So impressive.
That is the way that you want to go out your senior year, confident, and she's just such a beautiful gymnast inside and outside of the gym. And what a performance for Kat Levasseur. She should be so proud of herself for every single moment.
She should.
Looking at the scoreboard, Kennedy, how do you feel right now?
I have a mix of emotions. I'm looking over at Florida on beam, and I'm pretty proud, I'm not gonna lie. I'm sad for Alabama. I don't know if that's gonna get the job done. Utah is coasting, proud of them, a little devastated for Oklahoma.
And here we have Grace McCallum here, the 2020 U.S. Olympic team member, winning that gold medal. Very difficult transition. She tried so hard to hold that landing. I will say they may take about a 10th deduction on that landing because she did not hold that position. Judges are looking for that controlled landing, and she did have a slight rush top forward.
If you were the judge, Anastasia, would you give her the landing?
I wouldn't, as of right now, as far as so much is going on in this competition. We'll see what the judges think, though.
At a competition like this, you have to take the deductions. It's too big. There's too much on the line.
And there's 6 judges watching you.
Exactly. And another powerful routine for OU is Faith Torres on the floor. Opens with a huge double layout. In the regional final, she's stuck it cold, feet together. And wow, I mean, another beautiful landing there.
Faith Torres has really grown in her personality. She was actually quite shy her freshman year, talking to Coach KJ Kindler, and she has sassed it up in this floor routine.
Faith is great at taking things one step at a time, one event at a time. Had that mistake, opening vault, has bounced back so strong, on floor, really putting in the work here.
And what's really interesting about this Oklahoma team this year, they're actually utilizing a lot of day offs for their all-arounder and 3 eventers, which is quite different from when I was competing on this Oklahoma team. And just this last pass here, a front tuck through to a double tuck. What do you think about this, Kennedy?
I thought that that was pretty excellent, to be honest. Very similar to a regional final performance. She's so consistent. That's why she got a 10 earlier this year.
And coming up next on the uneven bars for the Utah Utes is Alani Sabato. She is the anchor for this Utah team. They are looking to drop that 9.8250, and she is more than capable of doing that.
She is capable of that. In the regional final, though, she had a mistake on her release move. She caught too close and then struggled. She has to connect that transition from the high bar to the low bar. You'll see it throughout this routine. She has to connect it.
So far, this Utah team is just carrying this momentum. She's going to use that to fire her up. She has nothing to worry about going into this routine. She just needs to focus on what she's capable of doing, just like in practice. And she's actually a bar worker that has stepped up her game. This Utah team needed a bar worker, and she was the one who could deliver. And Kennedy, she delivered from that mistake from regionals, did a beautiful transition, slightly short on that handstand. Judges do have a 10-degree grace, and she just nails the finish for this Utah team. To me, they were unstoppable. They delivered, they showed up, their culture has improved, and they are going to the national championship on Saturday.
We will see them on 4 on the floor at Saturday's competition. They did a great job today. Really got the momentum going and just carried that energy throughout the whole competition. Love to see it.
And lastly, on the floor exercise is the great Jordan Bowers for this OU team.
She's incredible, to say the least. I'm not gonna lie, this is my favorite floor routine in the OU lineup. I love it, it's stunning. There's no other words to say, but she eats this choreo. She just has a fierceness and competitiveness about her, but a beauty in her lines and extensions when she's dancing. I love it. No notes.
Beautiful combination pass, no deductions from what we could see here. And again, even though this is a team advancement, she can still represent herself as an individual NC championship on this floor exercise event, which she is more than capable of doing.
Beautiful finish on that double pike. I love how she stuck that landing, the height she got in the air. It was so pretty.
She will be doing a 2-pass routine here. Very critical right here on these leaps. Typically has no problem overextension and just lands in the same spot that she took off in.
And this is my favorite part.
She's been waiting for this all day.
I have. I love her ending. She's such a good dancer. I mean, it's hard to be a good dancer. Not everyone is a good dancer, and she is. I mean, it looks like she's had professional dance training her entire life. I mean, the way that she moves with the music is impressive.
Up next, we have the individual Mara Tetrasololi.
Mara is a beautiful bar swinger. Oh, struggled right there. She's supposed to get her feet on the bar like she did there. Missed her toes, but she's gotten a 10 on this event and has done so much for Missouri.
It just looked like she did rush herself and got a little bit over her head on that. And again, finding that rhythm. She is struggling a little bit on finding that rhythm. It's very difficult to find that rhythm, especially on a podium. Unfortunately, that was not the routine that she wanted on the uneven bars. But you can see it right there from her coach saying that it's okay.
Not exactly the routine she wanted, but I will say how challenging it would be to only compete one event last. She's only doing bars and she's 7th up. I mean, what a role to be in.
And especially on the uneven bars, it's cold in this arena. You need to keep your body moving. Your grips get cold. You need to re-chalk and everything. But let's just talk about the lights out star for this Michigan team.
Gabby Wilson can get a 10 here. She had a big 9.925 in the regional semifinal. She opens with a big open tuck full out. She's not gonna grab because of the height and amplitude. She gets off of the floor right here. And again, just like her teammate Sierra, one of her best.
This is a moment for her to enjoy every single moment to its fullest.
This is her final performance in her gymnastics collegiate career. And I love that she's getting this spotlight in a beautiful white leotard. This is her moment, and she deserves it.
Gabby is so powerful inside and outside of the gym. Her Michigan teammates look up to her, and she is a proud Wolverine for this team. Just one more pass for Gabby.
You'll see her head coach, Bev Plocky, cheering her on in the back.
Great combination pass. I would have loved to see her legs a little bit closer together. Her knees were a little bit soft, but what a moment for Gabby.
What a moment.
For all these teams.
What a career. Hugging the Oklahoma team, who also had some of their final performances as well. You can see Audrey Davis. I saw Audrey cheering her on. The Oklahoma team did a great job also of supporting Gabby throughout this competition. It's hard to focus on what your team needs to do, but also help the individuals feel comfortable, and they did a good job doing that.
And again, this is not the meet that everybody thought this was going to be. Florida and Utah are going to be advancing to the NCAA championship, the 4 on the floor. What a moment for these teams.
And all of them absolutely deserve to be there. Utah, Florida, Cal, LSU. They delivered today to make it to 4 on the floor, and those are their spots.
And all of these gymnasts tonight should be so proud of themselves. It is such an honor to be competing in this arena. Women look up to these athletes, and also as women, and leaving it all on the floor, especially for these seniors to say their final goodbyes.
The championship will be on 4 Eastern Saturday, 4 on the floor. Anastasia Webb and I, Kennedy Baker, will be here again. We can't wait to see you guys. Have a good night.